Hi boys and girls, welcome to our reading lesson for Monday. We are going to jump in and get started with our new unit about living things. Our essential question for this week is, what do living things need to grow? Now, does anybody have an answer for that question? What do you think living things like people or animals or plants, what do they need to be able to grow? They need food, and they need water. Plants need sunlight, or most plants need sunlight. Plants need a lot of care, just like this little boy, and it looks like his grandma, are working in their garden. There's lots of big plants in there, and that's some hard work. All right, boys and girls, so our story is called My Garden that we are reading today. But first, we are going to talk about some things that we are going to think about while we are reading it. The first thing is the characters. Remember, characters are the people or animals in a story. Now, when we read My Garden, that's something I want you to think about is who the people or the animals are in the story. Those are the characters. The next thing we're going to talk about is the setting. That's where the story takes place. So, is the story taking place in a town or on a farm or at somebody's house? It could be anywhere the story takes place. And the next thing we're going to talk about is the plot or the events in a story. These are the things that happen in the beginning, the middle, and the end of the story. So we're thinking about the events, the things that happen in the story, the setting, which is where the story takes place, and the characters, which are the people or animals in a story. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to find our story really quick. All right, so this story is called My Garden, and it's written by Kevin Hanks. My Garden by Kevin Hanks. My mother has a garden. I'm her helper. I water, I weed, and I chase away the rabbits so that they don't eat all the lettuce. It's hard work, and my mother's garden is very nice. But if I had a garden, there would be no weeds, and the flowers would keep blooming and blooming and never die. In my garden, the flowers could change color just by my thinking about it. Pink, blue, green, purple, even patterns. And if you picked a flower, another one would grow right back in its place. In my garden, the rabbits wouldn't eat the lettuce because the rabbits would be chocolate and I would eat them. If I planted seashells, I'd grow seashells. If I planted jelly beans, it would grow a great big jelly bean bush. That would be pretty cool. Sometimes in my garden, good, unusual things would just pop up. Buttons and umbrellas and rusty old keys. In my garden, there would be birds and butterflies by the hundreds, so that the air was humming with wings. The tomatoes would be as big as beach balls, and the carrots would be invisible because I do not like carrots. What would be one thing that you would have as big as beach balls? Like her tomato that she really likes. Mrs. G really likes pineapples, so I probably would grow pineapples as big as beach balls. And I probably would have onions be invisible because I do not like onions. What's something that you would want to be invisible? At night, the morning glories would stay open, shining like stars, and the strawberries would glow like lanterns. Well, that would be pretty cool if it was glowing strawberries. It's night now. Only the fireflies in the porch light are glowing. Before bed, I take one seashell from the shelf in my room and I go to the garden. I poke the seashell into the ground. Who knows what might happen? I cover it up with dirt and pat down the dirt with my foot. What do you think's going to happen with the seashell? We'll have to see. What are you doing? Asks my mother. Oh, nothing, I say. Just working in the garden. What is happening to the seashell? The seashell is growing roots. All right, boys and girls, so let's think about this story. So the events are the things that happen in the story, and the character are the people or the animals in the story. So who would you see? I would say there were two characters, but there's one main character that's in the whole story. So what character do you think is in the whole story? The character is the little girl or the daughter. And then where is the setting of the story? Where does the story take place? She's in one place the whole time in this story. The setting is in the garden. And then the events that happen, she talks about her garden and how about the flowers would keep blooming. And then she talks about them changing color and patterns and even new ones growing when she picked them. She talks about the chocolate bunnies in her garden that she would want. All right, boys and girls. So you guys have one comprehension page that you are doing from this story, and it's talking about the character, the setting, and the events in the story, okay? So you're talking about the character, which is the little girl, the setting, which is the garden, and then one thing that happened in the story, okay? And that's in your reading packet. All right, I will see you tomorrow, guys.